Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about infertility. Infertility is also known as sterility. By definition, it is inability to conceive after 1 year of sexual life without contraception when the couple gets worried for a baby. So, after being sexually active for 1 year, and that is also without contraception, if the woman fails to conceive, then she is infertile. So, 1 year of sexual exposure is very important. Sometimes you may get the patient who comes to you with the complaint of the infertility. એ તમને આવીને કહે કે મને મહિના રહેતા નથી, એટલે તરત જ ઇન્ફર્ટિલિટીની ટ્રીટમેન્ટ શરૂ નહીં કરી દેવાની. હર duration of sexual exposure is very very important. Suppose if she says that she is sexually active since 6 months only, then you may ask her to wait for more 6 months before you start treatment, before you go for the investigations of the infertility, right? So 1 year of sexual exposure, and that is also without contraception, is very very important for defining any case as having infertility, right? Practically, infertility and sterility both are synonyms, they are same, but there is very thin line of difference between these two. Sterility is the absolute state of inability to conceive. I hope you know what is inability, incapacity. The male is not capable to impregnate the woman is not able to conceive. So it is inability, incapacity. Anyhow, whatever you do, however the sex practice is done, there is inability on the part of both male and female. That is sterility. Whereas infertility is a relative state of failure to conceive. That means the couple is capable, but because of some reason, because of the fault somewhere, the woman fails to conceive. So it is failure to conceive. Infertility is failure to conceive, whereas sterility is inability to conceive, right? So if you see book wise or if you see theoretically, the infertility and sterility are different terms, but practically they are one and the same. Now the types of the infertility, you can divide the types into two varieties. One is primary and secondary. Infertility can be primary and secondary. Primary means the woman who has never conceived after sexual exposure. The woman who has never conceived, who doesn't have any child, who was never been pregnant, then it is called primary infertility. And secondary means after being fertile, the woman again becomes infertile. The proof of her previous infertility is the woman has 1 or 2 children. The woman had been once or twice pregnant. So she was fertile previously, but now due to some reason she has stopped to be fertile or she has become infertile. It is called secondary, also called acquired infertility. You can also classify infertility into some other group or other variety, like it may be physiological and pathological. Physiological infertility occurs at different stage of the woman's life. It may occur before puberty. You will find physiological infertility before puberty, after menopause, during pregnancy, and after delivery, after labor. At all these phases of life, ovulation does not occur. So absence of ovulation is the main cause of physiological infertility, but that is for time being. Before puberty, as soon as the girl achieves puberty, as the age of menarche comes, the girl will get her first menses. After menopause, it is physiological because the ovulation stops, right? Even after delivery or during pregnancy, for time being there is no ovulation. So there is physiological infertility because the woman is not able to conceive during this period. Pathological, due to some disease condition, there are some faults in the male, there may be some faults in the female, There may be sometimes fault in the both male and female. So these will lead to pathological infertility. So you can categorize infertility into two ways. One is primary and secondary, and the second is physiological and pathological. Now the incidence of the infertility, when you will get the patient of the infertility or when infertility results. About 80% women conceive within 1 year of regular coitus with sufficient frequency. So about 80% women usually normally conceive within 1 year of sexual exposure, where the coitus has been done regularly with sufficient frequency. What is sufficient frequency? About 4 to 5 coitus per week. That is a sufficient frequency. So with this frequency, the woman usually conceive within 1 year of sexual exposure, right? That is the 80% women usually conceive in this way. About 10% women conceive by the end of second year, by the end of second year of sexual life. About 10% remain infertile by the end of second year. So about 10% women cannot conceive even by the end of second year of sexual life, or you can say second year of the marriage. So this is the incidence of the infertility. Now, for successful fertility, there are some factors which play a very important role. So factors responsible for successful fertility when a woman can conceive. These factors are very important because whenever there is any fault in any of these factors, this will lead to infertility. So you should understand these factors for successful fertility. The very first factor is testes must produce healthy motile sperms. If the man is suffering from azoospermia, there are no sperm production, then he will not be able to impregnate the woman. So testes must produce healthy motile sperms. To be or to have healthy sperm is not sufficient. The sperms have to be motile, right? Motility of the sperm is very, very important. Sometimes when the motility is less, it is not as per the requirement, then also it will lead to the infertility. We are coming to different factors one by one. Second factor, sperm has to be deposited at the external os of the cervix at the end of the coitus and has to be transported through cervical mucus, uterine cavity and tubal lumen. At the end of the coitus, the semen must be deposited at the external os of the cervix. So when the coitus ends, deposition of the semen must occur at the external os of the cervix. Now you know that fertilization occurs at the ampulla part of the fallopian tube. So from the external os, the sperms have to travel through the cervical mucus, uterine cavity and the tubal lumen to reach the ampulla part, and that's why the sperms have to be motile. We discussed in the first factor, the testes must produce motile sperms. So motility is important for the sperms to reach from the external os of the cervix to the ampulla part of the fallopian tube to fertilize the ovum, right? So these factor has to be there. Ovulation is must. The woman must be having ovulation, because without ovulation, no release of the ovum, no fertilization of the ovum. Sperms cannot fertilize ovum because ovum is not there, right? So ovulation is very important factor for the successful fertility. Fallopian tubes must be patent. Patent means open. Sometimes fallopian tubes are blocked. One of the very important reasons, one of the very important causes of the infertility, right? If fallopian tubes are blocked or closed, then ovum cannot reach ampulla part, sperms cannot enter the fallopian tube, right? So fallopian tubes must be patent. Ovum must be picked up by the fimbriated end of the fallopian tube. You know that ovulation occurs in the ovary. Release of the ovum occurs from the ovary. the fimbriated end of the fallopian tube pick up the released ovum, right? So released ovum must be picked up by the fimbria. If fimbria fails to pick up or to catch the ovum, then ovum cannot enter the fallopian tube. So due to any factor, if fimbria fails to catch ovum or the ovum fails to enter fallopian tube, then infertility will result, right? So ovum must be picked up by the fimbria of the fallopian tube. Next factor, sperm must fertilize the ovum at the ampulla part of the fallopian tube. So when the ovum reaches ampulla part, by the time sperm should also reach the ampulla part, then only the sperm can fertilize the ovum. So sperm must fertilize the ovum at the ampulla part. Ampulla is the best, you can say, ideal site for the fertilization. In a case if fertilization occurs in any other part of the fallopian tube, it is quite possible that fertilized ovum may not enter uterine cavity. It remains in fallopian tube only, and this will result into abortion. Because fallopian tube is quite a narrow portion, narrow structure, it cannot accommodate the growing fetus. So ultimately it results into abortion, right? Or even though you know that it is called ectopic pregnancy, right? So that will result into mostly abortion. It cannot reach the full term, right? Further, embryo must reach uterine cavity after 3 to 4 days of fertilization. So fertilization occurs at the ampulla part, but then after the fertilized ovum, which is called embryo, it should reach uterine cavity within 3 to 4 days of the fertilization. Then and then only there can occur implantation of the fertilized ovum into the uterine cavity. So this has to be there. Next, endometrium must be prepared for implantation. We know that every month in the menstrual cycle, the endometrium undergoes various changes. These are called proliferative changes. Proliferative means related to reproduction, right? So endometrium prepares for receiving the fertilized ovum every month. If the woman does not conceive, then these changes destroy and they come out as menstrual discharge, that you all have studied in the physiology of menstruation, right? So endometrium must be ready for receiving fertilized ovum. It must be prepared for implantation. If endometrium does not undergo such changes due to any reason, it will lead to infertility, or it will lead to the abortion, right? Whenever the implantation is not proper, it will lead to the abortion. Pregnancy will terminate. And the corpus luteum must function adequately. You know that corpus luteum mainly functions to provide progesterone. Progesterone is very important hormone to maintain pregnancy. Progesterone is usually secreted by the placenta, but placenta is formed by the end of 3rd month. So in the first 3 months of the pregnancy, corpus luteum provides progesterone to the growing fetus, to the growing embryo. So corpus luteum must function adequately. If due to some reason corpus luteum fails to secrete progesterone, then only in the absence of the progesterone, pregnancy will terminate. So these are all the important factors responsible for the successful fertility. Now we come to the etiology. Causes of the infertility. Sometimes there may be fault in the male, there may be fault in the female, and there may be fault in the male and female both. So faulty male factors, faulty female factors, and faulty combined male and female factors. So these are the important etiology, important causes of the infertility. We'll discuss about these causes in detail in the next session. Thank you.